Hello, everyone. Welcome to Weekly Manga Recap. It is May the 22nd of 2024. I am Nick, here with Quinxley. Quaxon.
So I had to show the audience now, or else this joke doesn't make sense. Right before recording, I was like, I don't know if I even want to have my fucking face on recording. I look like shit. I have no makeup. My hair's like damp because I took my morning shower today at 6 p.m. This has been one of those kinds of days, and I was like, you know what? Fine, fuck it. I'll keep it on there. But for the audience, I guess that listens only to the podcast. I have like my emergency cover button for myself, like in case my camera goes down or something like that. It's just a picture of Quaxley, which doesn't even cover my full screen. Like you can still kind of see over to the side. And then Nick's is Nick threatening you with a knife.
Oh, yeah. I took that a long time ago. Or I didn't take that picture. I think my mom took that picture a long time ago. And it's been, I think, my Facebook picture since then, and I just because I never go on Facebook and I never have pictures taken of me, I just have never replaced it.
I was gonna say I don't know of a ton of pictures of you. This would be to the extent if my picture was still me with the blue fuzzy hat.
Yeah, kind of. At this rate, yes.
Yeah.
The day is long, the week is short, and so we come to another week of Weekly Manga Recap. And
poetic.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from.
Just say you made it. You can do whatever you want.
I made it in a laboratory, which is how you make important phrases.
Yeah.
Actually, this leads me to a little bit of a tangent. So, at work, I have an office job, guys. I'm sure that if any of you like tried to imagine me in an office job, it would be like, yeah, he's a boring white guy. I can see that.
How often do you talk about Boruto in your office job?
More than you would think.
Wow.
Because there is actually someone in my department who is also very into anime, and he does actually engage with me on it occasionally. Awesome. And so we have this like daily thing at our office meetings where we have like this packet that gets emailed out to everyone at in the office and all the different departments. That is like, here's the day's goings on and stuff. Here's our goals, blah 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 blah, and included in there, in order to have a little bit of flavor to let you know that it's a human who prepared this. There is a quote that gets picked out and included as well. And sometimes it'll be a quote, from someone that's like, like generally quote worthy. They are known for, amongst other things in their life, producing, quotes that are neat and well crafted. Like, Mark Twain's a good example.
Sure.
Dude said some clever stuff quite regularly. Other times it'll be something where it's like, I'm not sure how I feel about the fact that you chose to quote this figure from history because, I'll just sit here and think about what it means that you included a Reagan quote here.
Yeah, hey, why are there a lot of Ty Cobb quotes making this bulletin message? What's going on?
And then there will be quotes that are essentially by like motivational writers of some kind, like corporate motivational writers, and they'll say stuff in such a way that it's like, that's not actually motivational or inspiring or noteworthy. That is just them writing the introductory chapter about a concept for teamwork and how it works. And it's like, the key to teamwork is to communicate effectively and stuff. And it's like, that's not a quote. Whenever. I mean, it is a quote. It's an excerpt. Like
teamwork is when everyone comes together to get a job done, and you're like,
yes.
Yeah, that is what it means. If I were to look it up, I guess in Webster's dictionary.
So like I've been at this job officially too long because occasionally like stuff like that'll happen. I just can't contain myself and I just like be like, yeah, sure, okay, like out loud in front of everyone, just
That's the
actively
attitude you
shitting
need
on
to
it.
have, where you're just like, cool guys, hey, how about we get some fucking Bugs Bunny quotes in here or something good? Like, come on.
Yeah, I got a quote for you. What a maroon.
Yeah, that's the ticket. Uh, well,
and that and that's why I am not in HR. I can't fake the enthusiasm.
I discovered a quote today that was from Homer Simpson that I forgot about.
Oh yeah,
Nick, I've told you about my love of Hope Core. So in my spiral this
unfortunately.
morning, I was running through a bunch of different sort of Hope Core videos, and one of them had a bunch of quotes, and the quote was like, "Blame yourself only once, then get over it," and or don't let your thoughts let your thoughts bother you once, then get over it, and that's just a Homer Simpson joke that he said that to Marge. She's like, I can't believe the Van Houtens broke up at our party, and he's like, Marge, blame yourself once, then go to bed. And I was like, damn, this is wild. Then I cried at 13 videos. Then went to our Discord. I'm so sorry to Mulder Man. I cried because he made food, and I was like, I'm so happy you have food. You can see it right now if you go to our Discord. That message is there, and I'm like, thank you for sharing. This has just been the day. I'm sorry, everybody.
This is like the fundamental difference between us now, because whenever I get the energy up to post something online in any capacity, it's usually me being snarky or saying I don't like something. like I love everyone on our Discord server, but I rarely have it in me to actually like socialize on it. Sometimes I'll just randomly pull up my phone and I'll see a notification on there, and I will have something like actually to contribute to the conversation. But rarely will I be like, I need to initiate something. The last time I initiated something was because the most recent season of My Hero Academia, the anime startup, I watched that with Nicole, and the opening of this season is the dumbest, worst, whiniest sounding song I have heard in years. And so I just went on the Discord server to be like, well, there had to be a bad My Hero Academia opening eventually, I guess. And then people started sharing. It's like, this is the ones I like, but most of them are actually not very good. And it's like, yeah, I guess so. Yay.
Yeah, it's good. I love our Discord, but yeah, I definitely engage too much, perhaps. Some would say. Some would
That's
say
okay.
like, Quinn, less maybe.
We do have a lot to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, we're explaining physics this episode, right?
Yeah, from scratch.
Yeah.
Which is
so sometimes when you go throw something up, it goes down. Shit, I'm out of lessons. Can you take it from here?
Man, losing that V2 in the bank really screwed me this time.
Yeah, Nick, I'm just gonna have you explain quantum physics while I do my nails in the background and just poke up every so often to critique you, mostly to heckle.
It's gonna be difficult. I haven't studied physics in like 15, 16 years, so I don't think we ever got to quantum physics.
I played Bioshock Infinite, so I feel informed enough on the topic to discuss it like a TED Talk. Of course, before I get to Bioshock Infinite, I must first discuss Bioshock.
Which, as we all know, has a lot to do with physics and nothing to do with philosophy.
No. Yeah, there's no philosophy really in it. It's just a straight-up game
commentary
about how building a city under the ocean would be really cool, and you and your friends should do it.
Look at how happy everyone looks.
Mr. Musk, don't you think that you could build an underwater city like Rapture better than they did? We just convince him and his stupid friends to do it.
Oh man, what if we tell him it's a documentary?
Yeah, I'm like, we're better than Rapture. That's what they call it.
Mr. Musk, why go to Mars when the Mariana Trench is right there? You could call it the Marziana Trench.
Oh my god, yeah, or some shitty fucking meme name like Pepe Siana Trench or something like that.
That is gonna have to be a key. I'll have to actually bone up on like bad Rick and Morty references, which is to say Rick and Morty references, in order to decide what to name it.
Yeah, you'll have to look up all the memes from the early 2010s to be like, you think it'll go down there if we call it All Our Trench or Belong to Us?
It's like, once you get to a point where it's like you're at the point where it's like, no, I know I'm out of touch, but this, I remember this getting old. It's like, that's the sweet spot.
That's the ticket.
He has too much money. All right, My Hero Academia. Chapter number 423. One for all versus all for one. So last time a path was opened for Deku to get through, and he went through it, and he punched the weird eldritch horror that currently is All for One Shigaraki right in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And as this is happening, as he is falling backwards from the impact of the punch, All for One, wouldn't you know it, starts internally monologuing and says, "Oh, how did I not realize? I should have noticed that hyper regen wasn't working on this haggard excuse for a body. Something should have felt off. He's to blame. No, all of them. They conspired. Each individual only represents a feeble threat, but as a united force, they somehow overwhelmed me, dulling my sensitivity without me realizing."
That's right. Now, it's Sero's fault.
There is a cool panel here of like all the people who are currently involved in this fight in little individual panels, and their panels are lancing out with like lightning bolts to hit All for One. It's very cool. And yes, this is, the conclusion of the big thing of one for all versus all for one. Everyone working together versus the guy who has been trying to take it all for himself. And it turns out All for One just needed to be hit really hard for him to understand the themes of My Hero Academia. He gets it now.
I think there was also, I don't know if it comes through in this translation, but I think it's also supposed to represent, I think you're supposed to see it, I guess, from the jagged, but it's also that because so many people are attacking him, that's why Danger Sense didn't go off and stop this attack from Deku. It's like, there's just too much shit going on to identify this one threat.
You can't have your spider sense help you with every direction you go when there's a threat.
Yeah. I assume. I have no idea how Peter's spider sense actually works.
Well, interesting that you say that, because there's actually different levels of spider sense depending on the interpretation, the version. And anyway, sorry.
Can I also just side note, again, I went through a lot of TikTok videos today. Do you know Batman has like 3 other new assistants now? There's too many.
Beacon, I think, is the most recent
or
one.
Signal, I think.
Signal, that's it. Yeah.
Why is there a bright yellow suited Batman? That seems like a bad Batman suit.
I don't know. Yeah, I learned that from reading the Feel Good webtoon thing with the Bat Family.
Yeah.
Wayne Family Adventures.
Wait, Squirrel Dude says one of them uses a gun. Isn't that kind of
Yeah, Red Hood. He uses like Batarang guns. Yeah.
Well, that's the dickhead one. That one's fine. Yes. I thought one of
No. Dick's the original Robin. He's not
true. He got me there. I thought this was like one of the new Bat people. Like, I understand Jason Todd's one of the Bat people, but like he's also a dickhead. We get it. I thought like one of the new people was just like, yeah, I know Batman said no guns, but like, what if I did it?
Welcome to the team, the newest member of the Bat Family, Joe Chill.
Oh,
the guy who killed your parents. Yeah, he said sorry. So.
That was a while ago.
Put that bat symbol on your chest. There you go. All right, let's go.
You're now just the Chill.
You're gonna only shoot bad people, right?
Like, actually, I was hoping for the name Orphan Maker. I suppose I'll let that one slide.
Just really easy going.
Batman's been a lot easier since you started doing THC oil. Since he started taking stevia every morning.
Guys, ever look at yourself and realize we're all just men under these bat suits? Yes. Well, some of us are women, actually. Like, you've got, like, multiple girls on your team now.
Yeah,
What?
there's a Batgirl, a Batwoman, and then like 3 other female Bat characters.
Spoiler, Black is... what is Cassandra Cain going by now? Like, Black Bat? Something like that? Barbara Gordon. And I don't know if she's Batgirl or Oracle right now. Kate Kane, she's Batwoman.
Is there like a
And
Stephanie?
Huntress is sometimes associated with them.
Is there like a Stephanie?
Stephanie Brown is Spoiler, I think
And
is her.
is there like a Cassie
name.
something?
Cassandra Cain. She
Okay.
was Batgirl. She was Batgirl for a while, and then of course you can't have Batgirl be Batgirl while Batgirl is Batgirl. So
That'd be ridiculous. You couldn't do that.
anyway, there's a lot of them. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Wait,
there's a Bat character just called Orphan? That's kind of fucked up the Batman.
Cassandra Cain was called Orphan for a while and might still be called Orphan.
Damn, does Batman ever just like, alright.
That's not cool.
Can you change your name? She's like, how about Insecure Dickwad? And he's like, Orphan it is. Anyway, what happens is All for One dead?
So All for One continues monologuing, essentially, and Deku notes that, like, hey, in addition to the fact that he, got rid of all the successors, but he did build up his body to be strong, because he had to do it in order to actually contain One for All to begin with. And All for One realizes this body, too, was already shattered. As Shigarati's body starts crumbling away, like disintegrating into rocks, and all the quirks attached to him that he had unleashed all at once, they all started falling apart as well. And they're like, holy shit, we did it. And of course, it wouldn't be All for One if he didn't go, no.
What if one more little trick?
What if I had another contingency? So, I will admit, when I read this chapter, I was like, please don't do this, when he started coming back together. But he is literally, like, forcing his quirks to, like, hold parts of his body together before they can fully fall apart. And he starts ranting and raving about how it's like, only I get to survive on this. I'm gonna make my dream come true. I'm the Demon Lord who has a happy ending. I read the book part way, deliberately stopped reading it because I know how it was supposed to end. That's how books work. But he decides that there's only one way out of this, which is to claim a new vessel. So he reaches out with some tentacle stuff, presumably towards Deku, who starts getting ready to throw another punch. Aizawa shouts out a warning, but Shirakumo, Kurogiri, what is left of him, sees the two about to clash and apologizes to Aizawa and Present Mike before vanishing into a portal, saying, I must do this. I must protect Tomura Shigaraki. So the Kurogiri programming is still in effect here, and he summons a portal in front of Deku between himself and All for One Shigaraki. And President Mike starts to go like, oh man, I should have known. He's always going to reach out with a helping hand. And as he appears in front of All for One, Kurogiri says, give back Tomura Shigaraki. And he remembers the time when Spinner held out the hand in order to kind of wake him out of his funk back in the prison. And he says his friends await him. But we ain't done yet. An explosion goes off. Bakugo has arrived one more time. And he's right next to Deku, and he says, Todoroki might have helped out with this little ski jump. He summoned a ram for him to explode up. It's a callback to that one time that they saved his ass. So, but he says, but don't you dare let me surpass you. And he gives Deku a boost forward towards All for One again. And Deku says, All for One, I need to explain the morals of this fight right now. It's very like comic book Chris Claremont in this moment of like, he is flying forward about to deliver the punch. So let's just deliver a quick monologue here. He says, I can't look past what you've done, but you're not some monster beyond all understanding. And you're no demon lord. All you are is a lonely man.
You're just a big loser.
Yeah. So he punches, and then all of a sudden, we're inside All For One's mind space. He sees an ember approaching him from his brother, Yoichi. And the ember says to him, look, Midori managed to adjust the violent transfer in just such a way that the barest fragment would remain intact. Then the resonance with his ember awakened me to do right by these last shreds of me, all so that he could complete One for All, as we were meant to be. And All For One's like, I don't care! No!
No!
But as the ember starts to fade, he's like in his mind body. All For One like grabs the ember and is like, "Don't fade away! Show me your face!" And Yoichi's like, "My time's up. I'm done." And All For One's like, "No, you're mine! Look upon me! Let me see your eyes!" The ember says, "What Midoriya could see for a seer is our final salvation at the end of it all." And All For One's like, "No, it's not. No, no, no." He also says, I won't allow it. I love you. I love you like no other. I'm hopeless without you. I'm nothing, which, as I know, meant to like expose the deep-seated insecurity that has been around with him for presumably hundreds of years that he's been covering up this whole time. But it is also just like rings very hollow because like, oh, you suck. You're a weird abuser and fuck you. Which I guess is also the point. He's a bad guy.
I mean, he's a bad guy, but as Deku was saying, you're like a lonely guy who doesn't know how to kind of live without this other part of you, your twin brother, like, but you don't deserve him. You're a pretty shitty person.
All For One at this point has like reverted into like his original adult body with an actual face. And Yoichi says it's time to pay the price for exploiting all for yourself. Because he awakened more than just me. And all the vestiges of One for All come out of the shadows after All For One. And we get a big full-page spread of, as Deku delivers the punch, a whole bunch of other fists come out to punch as well. And yeah.
Including Shigaraki's, Nick.
Yep. His hand meets Deku's hand physically in this moment, and Shigaraki is back in control of his body at this point. He says, somehow you kept me tethered, kept me from fading. Right, Grandma? Aww. So when Shimura was transferred, she protected her grandkid. Aww. Yeah. Kurogiri is gone. He completely fades away and dissipates. And Shigaraki says, I stole my body back from Master, but I never managed to destroy a thing. In the end, maybe I really am just a crying little kid, like you said. I couldn't even destroy your hands. Everything you did, I couldn't let it stand, says Deku. That's why I fought. I wanted to stop you. I wanted you to stop yourself, to keep the grief and misery from spreading any further. And Shigaraki says as he is fading away, like he's in control, but he's basically one arm ahead and like shoulders at this point and is continuing to fade away. He says, if Spinner survived this, tell him that even to the bitter end, Tamura Shigaraki kept fighting to destroy. And Deku assures him it's already been destroyed. And in our last page of the chapter, Shigaraki fades away and is gone. And the sun comes out. Yay!
Happy ending for everybody involved.
Well,
a couple people.
A couple people. Yeah, what a body count in this chapter.
Only a couple people died, Nick.
Well, 3 people.
Yeah, and more, I guess, if you want to talk about the vestiges. Yeah, whatever, all right? Everyone seems to be dead now. We can all celebrate. Our grand darkness is finally over.
Yeah, he seems to be gone. It really looks like the battle is over, which means it looks like the series is going to end maybe soon. Now, I say that because a lot of people are saying like, oh, My Hero Academia is wrapping up. And I do understand that, yes, there's every reason to believe that. Not just in terms of where the plot of the story is at, but also in terms of the release schedule, Horikoshi's health concerns in the last several months, where he's had to take, some time as a break. It'd be a good time to, stop doing an ongoing series and Jump if you're worried about that. But there hasn't been any kind of announcement yet on this. So I think that it's kind of a wait and see sort of situation. Because yes, by all accounts, the series probably should end here. But it would not be the first Shonen Jump series that got to the natural concluding point and then kept going anyway. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. There could be some extra arc or something, who knows. But I do think that we have reached sort of the climax of the series. Maybe something else gets introduced, but this felt like it tied up what we've been following My Hero for a very long time. So I wouldn't be shocked if we get like a month or two of just like resolutions, essentially, to like explain certain things. Like, I don't think this is necessarily going to be like next chapter you open it up and they're like, all right, like it's the epilogue, let's see which character's hooked up or whatever.
Right.
But I do think there's a lot of stuff to just like go and address, and there's like fallout that has to happen from this. There's just a lot to have to do. So it might take some time. We might get an announcement. But I don't know. We'll see. I think we probably will see the end of My Hero in my mind. I would say by like the end of summer, but I don't want to make that call and be like, by July it'll be done or anything like that. Unlike another series we'll be talking about later.
Yeah. At the time, I mean, I believe that whenever My Hero Academia does end, it'll be like the longest series that like started, and we covered almost all of it, and then it ended. Because we jumped in on it about like 20 or so chapters in, 25 chapters in, right around there, I want to say.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
That's going to be kind of crazy. It'll be quite a change whenever that does happen. But
when did we jump in on Toriko?
I don't recall, but
I know that it had been running for a bit, because I remember I got you in on Toriko
for a little bit,
and then
yeah,
we eventually started covering it. All right, well, yeah, good chapter. We'll see. This should be some cool Fallout chapters, I feel like. Let's talk though about Undead Unluck. This is number 207. One more time. Which is a Daft Punk reference. I don't know if it's a Daft Punk reference here, but it is for me.
It might be.
It might be. So the chapter opens, Fuko is crying and apologizing to Nico. She's like, oh, if only I'd gotten here sooner, you wouldn't have turned it unforgettable. And she's like shaking him as she says this. And Nico's just like, it's fine. Like,
yeah,
like, Chico's fine. We killed language. Like, it worked.
I love the asides that Ichiko has a couple of times in this chapter. And the first one is here when he's like, Ichiko didn't die either. And she's like, I'm alive.
very, very cute. Nico just changes the topic and is like, look, like you came here for a reason, didn't you? And Fuko's like, yeah, absolutely. I've got a grasp on souls, and I'm going to share what I learned with you and enhance your negation abilities. And Nico's like, yeah, this is like a really good time to do that. And Ichigo's like, enhance? Like, is that, what do you mean by that? And Nico starts to say, he's like, yeah, it might depend on like the negation ability. But once I was able to perceive souls, my memory from Unforgettable basically became infinite. Like, before, I had to regulate it with all these brain things. And if I had tried to accept everything Apocalypse had for me, I would have just died. But because I used my soul, I was able to, like, survive and go through that. And I think, throughout all of Undead Unluck, there have been terms like a self-targeting and external targeting negators. That might not actually be a thing. Depending on the way your negator ability works and the way you use souls, you might be able to extend it and use your powers in all these like crazy different ways. Sean, Unseen, would be an example. He unconsciously tapped into it, which is what allowed him to make several people invisible, whereas before it was only one person. So with that, we can enhance the negation abilities of all union members who make use of their souls. And we see like in the background, Rip and Shen and Billy using like soul powers. And it's like, oh, won't that be cool?
A little bit of respect for Sean there.
Yeah.
So it's like he tapped into this, and he's like, "Hey, he kind of did it before everyone else, so good for him."
Sean rules when you think about it. They reiterate that there are only 3
this
people.
This episode written by Sean.
Yeah. And you know what I do when I really like to relax, Nick? I buy Sean gifts, including MeUndies and HelloFresh. And then I log into Sean's Rage Shadow Legends account, and I get him 4 premium heroes. No, they note that there are 3 people left to recruit: Tatiana Untouchable, Kururu Unchaste, and Bunny Unback, who I saved for last because we never knew what Bunny's ability was called.
Unback.
They take things.
Unback.
You can't take it back.
But, okay.
Unback, Nick. That's why she's stuck in a bunny outfit. She can't take it off.
I don't know what the rule of back means.
You can't take it back. They take it. You can't take it back. Nick, what's so hard? Unback.
So this is a rule that is incorporated by the gods of the punch buggy, no punch back rule.
Yes, exactly. No punch back. You got it. Perfect. So they're going to do that while also taking care of the couple other remaining quests against Burn and Summer. Learn about souls, and they're going to create the strongest union essentially that's ever been known, and take the superior rules down. It's actually a pretty cool 1.5 page spread of all the union members looking forward and facing down the remaining members of the superior rules, with Soul and Luna hovering behind them.
A lot of arms crossing.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool posing going on. Nico sits there and thinks about God Ragnarok and gets a smile because he's like, this time I'll get to fight alongside you. So cool little moment there. And Nico's like, all right, well, I guess we should split into 3 groups then. And she's like, wait, who else besides me has an intricate knowledge of souls? And Nico's like, so Chico and Fang died in the language fight, and I ended up
died.
I ended up comprehending souls and becoming unforgettable. And Fuko gives a what? No, you can't. They couldn't have died. How are they back? And he's like, I used Shiratori to bring them back. And she's just,
you used what?
He's like, I'll fill you in on the details later. The important thing is that they know. And Fuko's like, wait, if you died, then what does that mean for your negation ability? Was there no talk about transferring your ability to someone else? Did you meet someone while you died? And Nico's like, wait, you met somebody? That's news to me. And she goes oh, so that wasn't a dream. And we see how that exchange went, where she was in the soul palace with the previous unsleep users. And she's like, hey, I'm going to be coming back soon anyway, guys. So I think we should just leave the power with me. And she's like, that's how it happened. But she's like, wait, is that for the best? And she's like, yeah, don't worry. I've gotten used to it. Plus, it'll make us a matching married couple. Then I figured, what's the harm? And this is very powerful, Leslie note passing Ron in the hallway, I'll have to get married. She's like, okay, have a good time. What? It's straight up haha, come again? You got married? What the fuck? When did you get married? And I like that at this point, Fang is just flying away.
I'm getting out of this. I'm leaving. I don't want any part of this bullshit.
He's just I don't want to get involved in this fucking conversation. But Fuko calls out to him and thanks him, and then gives him the news hey, just to give you a heads up, you are currently Union's 10th seat. So you're officially a member of the round table. Could you help everyone else about souls? You're the best person. You're probably the best at actually understanding how to control it. And Fag's like, no, fuck you. I paid back what I owed for my Great Awakening. I have no reasons to follow your orders. And Fuko is, of course, a little sad. And she's like, well, there are 8 more superior rules that are just as strong as the one you just fought. Don't you want to fight them? And if you don't work with us, then we'll end up beating them first. You want to fight the strong ones, don't you? And Fang's just like, no need. I'll teach the workings of the soul to Shen. and he will make a good practice dummy, far more so than those 10 superior roles. And Fuko just kind of laughs, like, Nico's like, Jesus, can't you be a little less soon about this? But as the conversation is ending, Fuko's just like, oh, in that case, be sure to teach Mui too. Oh, and Mr. Void and Miss Yusai. He's like, stop adding people. So
if I just say them quickly enough before he gets away, he has to do it.
Yeah, I sincerely hope he's like, fuck, she did say all the, like, I have to teach those other people now. So we get what people are going to do. Nico's going to head to Tatiana's position because he has to build her sphere after all.
I'm actually kind of bummed about that because it's like, oh, so she's going to still be trapped inside the no friends sphere?
Well, they might find some way. I don't know. We'll see. I guess she probably needs some level of that, but yeah.
I know that, like, it's also very distinct in her trademark appearance, but, like, the ramifications of it, the implications of the fact that she has to be in it is like, oh, so
well,
that means that
she could also learn souls at some point, and then maybe she just applies untouchable to her soul. I don't know. Chico's going to go handle Bunny, because she's sure that she could she's like, I think from what I understand from the last loop, I can avoid getting caught by her by using my astral projection, which leaves you with Kururu, Fuko. And she's like, oh no, I shouldn't. Kururu's unchaste ability will trigger at a live concert with a ton of people, and a lot of people is my ability's nemesis. Like, anyone could touch me by accident, and then we have a much worse disaster than just Kururu's ability triggering. And Nico's like, oh, I know. But even so, you definitely have to go. And I don't know why this tickled me so much. One of his little fucking orbs functions as a printer and prints out like a little sheet for him as he rips it off. And he's like, look, as someone who was entrusted with the loop with as steely a resolve as yours, I realize this doesn't seem like the most logical path. But take it from me, after all the dumb stunts I pulled in the last loop, if you can meet someone, you should. And Fuko's like, what are you talking about? And he hands her like a sheet, basically, and like a, what do you call them? Like a poster for an event, essentially. Flyer. And he's just like, look, this is an event that's going to take place in a week. Is there anyone on there that looks familiar to you? And obviously, front and center, we can see Kururu. She's doing a little heart pose. But like Fuko's looking through it, and she's like, I don't think I
love some of the performer names on here. So obviously we've got Kururu. Mm-hmm. We've got Kaede. That's Fuko's mother. And then you've got groups for the others. So you got a pair of twins. What's their group name called, Quinn?
Twin girls.
No, just twin.
Oh, twin.
Then there's three of them. So that's Delta Co, because there's three of them.
Yeah.
And then there's another one, and their group name is Girls.
Sometimes that's what you do.
Girls.
I mean, if it was good enough for a song, Nick, why can't it be good enough for a band? Check.
You have me there.
And mate.
Damn it.
So Fuko is looking at this list. She's like, I haven't really been keeping up with like all this sort of stuff since the loop. And she's like, whoa, wait, this girl. And she's like, oh, do you know her? And she's like, it's less that I know her and more that this girl is my mom. And I love that we get an active spit take for Machiko. Also, I forgot to mention this, but there is, while she's looking at this poster, there's a scene where Julia's in the background and she's like trotting in place. And the only thing I can think of is she's like preparing to do like a Chapel Roan, like fucking hot to go dance or something like that. Like, I'm like, is she practicing dance moves for the upcoming like pop star fucking concert? But she's just like, this is very strange. And Nico's like, all right, judging by your reaction, I'm guessing you've never looked into your mom or anything like that. And she's like, no, I never dug into this. I knew she liked music, but my mom was an idol. I never knew. And he's like, look, preventing Kururu's tragedy is obviously the priority, but even then, you should go. Get out there. This is a chance to meet your parents one more time.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. I did not really expect that we would ever get anything involving like Fuku's like blood family at this point in the story, but here we are.
I thought we might have to because I thought about it and I was like, this is supposed to be like a happy ending loop for everybody. And it's like a ton of work to get there, but for everybody. But I was like, the one thing that wouldn't ever make sense is Fugo's parents who die in that blimp. Like, if she's here, do they still like? I was always wondering if they were ever going to address that because it's always been about protecting everyone else's tragedies for happening. And I guess this is the idea that like, okay, maybe this is to prevent her own parents' tragedy, essentially. Now, I don't know exactly because she's not gonna. I don't think there's like there can't be a second Fuko or anything like that. But like to give her parents kind of a happy ending.
Tuco.
Yeah, Tuco. Jesus.
Look, there's a group in this story called Girls. We can have a Tuco.
No, that's Toucan, Nick. Toucan.
What?
I don't
What?
know. Nick, I told you I spent the day crying and watching TikToks. My brain ain't firing on all cylinders, alright? Tuco Toucan is the hottest fucking wordplay you're getting out of me tonight. I don't know what to tell you. My other joke was gonna be like, in Germany they call it Schweiko. And I was like, well, that's nothing either. I couldn't leave the dead air, Nick. I'm a goddamn performer, just like Chapel Roan. You're not gay enough to know who she is.
No, I'm not.
I knew it. All right, good chapter.
Yeah, and on that note, yes, it was a good chapter of Undead Unluck. It's Blue Box. Blue Box. Chapter 149. Deck of Kindness. That's right, Kaiba. You cannot defeat my new Deck of Kindness. It's still the summer festival. Taiki and Chinatsu have now been separated because Taiki ran the fuck away when people that they knew came by. So, on top of them running into, Nishida and some badminton people, some of Chinatsu's friends also show up and they're like, oh my gosh, let's take a photo together. We should get Kato and the others. And Chinatsu tries to beg off and say, like, someone's waiting for me. I gotta meet up. But she gets a buzz on her phone. Taiki has texted her saying, it's like, hey, come on. It's important to make memories with your friends too, so don't worry about me. Take your time. And at that moment, one of the girls in the group is like, oh, my necklace is missing. It's like, what is it? It was a gift and I dropped it. Oh, is it around here? And everyone's like, let's all search for it. And I love Chinatsu's face like, what the fuck? What happened? Why am I involved in this?
It's a lot at once, but this is like very dramatic high schooler problem. Like, I've lost my important necklace at this function. I have to find it. It's like, all right, I guess we'll all stop what we're doing and help. Like, we're not monsters. It's very fortuitous. Not fortuitous. What's the opposite? Very dickish of reality to work this way.
Akari spots Taiki in the crowd, and now he's just like hanging out because he's not near Chinatsu, so he doesn't feel the need to disguise himself. And so he's got the mask off and the hat off. But Akari decides, like, let's. I don't want to be near. I don't want to go near that guy. So she demonstrates this to her friends in the most 2-year-old way imaginable, because she like holds her arms out like she's spreading her wings and then gestures in a direction. They're like, oh, should we go that way? Yep.
I think I guess she is like, I can't, if I speak, perhaps that will attract their attention to Taiki.
Taiki spots a booth, which is a target practice booth, and he sees that one of the prizes is one of those like 90s like flickable mini basketball games, and he's like, oh, I want to win that. So he's like, 1 round, mister. Just like goes back in time to the 50s. Like, I say, my good fellow. I will partake in your carnival game, which I'm sure is not at all rigged.
Yeah, and then the carnival person's like, little does he know, I put steel brackets behind every one of these items.
Watch our bonus episode on the Spy Family Code White movie.
Coming out very soon.
The group that is looking for Tasaki is her name. Her necklace is like, oh, we're gonna miss the fireworks, and they're like, is it really that important? And she's like, I got it from my boyfriend. And the guys are like, oh, her boyfriend. And just, but the two of us are in a long distance relationship. All right, Tasaki, ma'am, I don't need to know all your details unless you're gonna like be showing up next week. Like, are you a cast member now? I don't think you are. You don't need to tell me.
Nick's furious. This background character starting to get little details. He's like, how dare! You do not belong to my world, my knowledge. Get out of here. Be gone, you.
Tasaki just becomes like more important than Ayame and Kyo's plot. And is like, God damn it, what happened here?
Chinatsu's like, Tasaki, my number 2 on the basketball team, who we haven't really talked about before now. And I'm like, I thought that was your one friend with the short hair. I know only, look, there are established girls in this series, and they have a couple friends. There's girl with long or short hair on the basketball team, and I think Nina, Eerie Gray will correct me in a second if I'm wrong.
We only know that because of Nina. So.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ayame. You're a real bro for giving people nicknames that are easy to remember. So she keeps on going and is like, oh, we only see each other every now and again, so I wore it today because it makes me feel close to him. And everyone's like, can't you just buy another one? It's like, you guys are missing the point.
Yeah,
you don't understand what's going on here. It's not that it's a necklace she lost, it's that a necklace her boyfriend gave her. None of you deserve to have girlfriends. You all suck.
Yeah, Nick, this is an important lesson about why men suck. Because these guys are like, oh man, let's look for the necklace. And then she's like, oh, but it's for my boyfriend. They're like, her boyfriend? I'm not going to get sex if I find this necklace. What's even the point? I'm going to go now.
It's like, it makes me feel close to him, and I love him, and it reminds me of our unbreakable bond. And they're like, whatever. So she eventually is like, oh, it's fine. I'll look for on my own. You guys go and see the fireworks. And they're like, what you want to do? And Chinatsu gets down next to her and she's like, oh, have you checked over here? And she's like, you don't have to stay. And Chinatsu's like, hey, it's all right. It matters to me if you're stressed, and I want to help you. Because
my best friend Tasaki.
My good friend Tasaki. It's like, hey, Chinatsu's a good person. She wanted to go and be with her boyfriend. Her friend was in trouble, and so she decided to help her and prioritize her over her own feelings.
Chinatsu's iconic friend, Tasaki.
Yeah. So
if you pick Chinatsu in the Shonen Jump fighting game, she has a special like summoning move where she summons Tasaki. Because they're like very
and no one else.
Yeah, it's like the iconic like character. Like it'd be like if you were playing like Link and you didn't have the Master Sword, you'd be like, what the fuck? It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. So I'm checking real quick here.
She's not in any Jump fighting game, unfortunately. Yeah.
No, not that.
She wasn't the DLC character for Jump Force, unfortunately.
So I wanted to check if this guy was anyone, because I thought it might supposed to be Matsuoka, but his hair and face look different, so I don't think that's the case. I don't.
It's not Matsuoka.
I think it's just a dude.
Yeah,
I think it's just some guy.
I think this is just some guy.
Chinatsu's iconic guy who has a crush on her.
Well, I believe it has been said in the past that Chinatsu does get a lot of suitors. Like she has had it before, and she's just kind of turned people down. And honestly, what he says to her is not relevant. It's the fact that it motivates her to just be like, let's stop hiding this bullshit. Like it's making us unhappy.
He goes on like about how nice she is and stuff like that, and how she's like, oh, you're really trustworthy and stuff. She's just like, oh wow, that's quite the analysis. And he's like, and kind of realizes like it seems like he's been observing her for a while.
This is the chapter where you were like suddenly reminded that there's actually more than just like 7 fucking kids at this school. They're like, oh right, there's probably like hundreds of these fucking kids, and they're just around.
Chinatsu says that she knows someone even nicer than her, so she can't really take the compliment, basically. So the guy's like, oh, well, having someone like that in your life must make you want to be kind to others too. A thought bubble appears. Must be someone in her family. Okay.
This chapter,
It's like
this
the
chapter,
willful.
yeah, this chapter is just about why dudes suck, Nick.
But Chinatsu's like, look, when someone's kind to you, it's surprising how happy it makes you, and it helps you realize new ways to express kindness. And I guess it's thanks to that my own deck of kindness is growing. She has more tools in her arsenal of ways to be nice to people because she has learned from Taiki's the ways that he's made her feel better, and that's very sweet. So dude McBroface decides I'm gonna go for it. He's like, I think you're that type of person, Kano. The truth is, Kano, and Nishida, the most clutch he's ever been in this series. I found it!
Also, and we give this character a lot of shit, he was also one of the people who stayed around to help her look for the necklace.
He
so,
did.
hey, usually you suck, Nishida. Usually I wish a meteor crushed you and your family. Today, good on you, champ.
Yeah. So,
Nick, I present to you Nishida's top 10 best moments in Blue Box. Number 1, finding the necklace and interrupting the love confession to Chinatsu that she didn't really want to have to be there for.
Quinn, aren't top 10 supposed to start from number 10 and work their way up to the number?
Yeah. Number 2, a blank panel without Nishida in it.
Not being in this chapter.
Number 3, a My Hero Academia panel with Gang Work in it.
Number 4, a note from Quinn that just says, I got bored.
Number 5, Muppets Christmas Carol.
Nishida actually did a smart thing because he went and checked the lost and found. It's like, hey, get smart thinking, but champ. And so dude McGuyface is like, it's great, yeah. Oh, Kano, you can forget what I said. Don't worry about it. And Chinatsu just says, I'm sorry, I need to go. And she just leaves. And she thinks about all the stuff that they've been through independently and together as their relationship has grown to the point that it is while they've had to hide it. Up to, of course, most recently, Taiki hiding his fucking face and not holding her hand in the crowd and them getting separated. Akari and her friends come across Taiki again. Like, this keeps happening.
You would almost assume you'd be like, well, let's just not go to that side of the... Like, how small is this fucking festival that you keep running into this kid over and over again?
So Akari's friend is like, oh, are you here with Kyo? Kyo. Oh, or maybe your girlfriend. And Akari's like, that's not polite. And Yuzuki, her friend, is just like, look, I just want the truth. It's like, it's so weird because it's like he's like a married person not wearing a ring. So it seems very obvious to her, basically. Yeah. She says, besides, you have a thing for Inamata-senpai, Akari. And Akari's like, what? What? Why? Why would you say that? He's like, well, you called him cool before. It's like, he's cool because he's good at badminton. It's like, well, you also got him those recordings of your brother's matches. Yes, because I wanted to help him be good at badminton. You also mimic how he comes in early for practice because I want to improve at badminton. How is that any different from love? I mean, it's not different, but it's not necessarily the same. But Akari hasn't realized how this could definitely be romantic feelings. She's in denial in her head while getting embarrassed and being like, oh, I just feel admiration. Fortunately, Taiki has been hearing all this the whole time and is actually aware of the situation. And he's like, I mean, maybe I should just tell them. But Akari has kind of told me I should be keeping a secret and stuff. So he's thinking about that. And then Chinatsu shows up and just says straight up, Taiki. Just says his name fully, first name, in front of everyone, and calls attention to herself. And so everyone turns and looks at her, which is sorry for making you wait. And her friends and the Batman Club are right there nearby, and she walks up and takes his hand in hers.
Aww.
It's very
He
cute.
better not fuck this up. If next chapter, if I start reading it, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing, fucking whatever Chinatsu's last name is?"
Senpai.
Yeah. We would. Oh, is this because I dropped my? Like, I'll throw my phone against the fucking wall. Like, I'll scream and cry. I'm gonna do this anyway, but I'll be doing it because of this series. If that happens.
Yeah. It's a very sweet panel there, and I do like how we've had this moment, built up to be kind of like an impulse thing, but also, of course, informed by a lot of stuff that's been happening where they've just been forced to just be secret and sneak around this whole time, and just not happy with that. And yeah, make her happy, Taiki. Come on.
Yeah, do it, you fuck. I feel like
all right, Quinn.
I don't know why I feel like
speaking of stuff that makes us happy.
All right, look. I know this sounds like I'm a monster. I have like powered through this water. I'm gonna grab one real quick.
All right,
but don't save some good Boruto talk for me, even though it's gonna sound like my car is starting, and you're going to hear a plane taking off from the airport that's not near my house. I definitely will be back to talk about Boruto in a second.
All right, it's Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 10 Colonel. So Team 10, that's Shikadai, Inojin, and Chocho, are trying to get Himawari to safety. Hooray. So the tree guys say like, oh, they must know they can't outrun us while they stand still. I just don't understand why bad guys have to act this way. So Konohamaru shows up with some guys in order to stop them. He's in communication with Shikamaru. They are in communication with other people, blah, blah, blah. Kawaki is told by Shikamaru that Himawari is in danger, and he tries to make him see sense of like, hey, look, Boruto is not your priority right now. He considers the trespassers enemies, so come on, let him go and refocus here. But Kawaki just says, if Himawari is in danger, you should have led with that bastard. And he flies off with Delta following after. Shikamaru checks in with Boruto, who, his karma reacted and stuff, so he's not doing so hot right now after his run-in with Kawaki, so he needs a little bit of time to recover. So...
All right, Chainsaw Man, Nick. Vroom! Chainsaw Man!
The Sasuke tree guy is like, Jura, why do they interfere with us? And Jura's like, ask them yourself, using that exact tone. It's like, why did he say that? I'll go after Himawari.
Nick, remember, these guys are like a comedic duo. Like they're like silly little guys.
Jura, why in the wild did they interfere with us?
I say that.
I don't know.
Who's on first? You're like, that was the bit. No, but I do mean like last chapter or two chapters. I don't remember what the last like thing these guys were involved in was, but they were doing like bookstore jokes and shit like they're just, I think, supposed to be a little aloof.
So Jura goes, flies off as well. Sasuke tree guy is standing in front of Konohamaru, and sensory unit dumbass he's also there.
Oh wait, Nishi's there.
Nishi's there. He's got the just like, oh, like looking like he's not supposed to be there.
That'd be so great if he gets there and he's like, I found them.
Guys, intruders are here.
Get him into Konohamaru, and it's like he's not the Hokage. Also, he's right in front of you.
Oh, man. So, yeah, Sasuke tree guy's like, you're all so noisy. What business do you have with us? And they're like, huh? You don't know your place. Like, come on, guys. Like, it's the most basic stuff. Stop rising to provocation just because you don't have names or recognizable character qualities. So Konohamaru is like, all right, sensory unit, one of the trespassers we were told was Uchiha Sasuke, but that's not him. He's literally right in front of me, and it's not him. And they're like, well, okay, but we're observing you guys with our chakra sense, and that's definitely him. And he's like, what the hell's going on? Then Sarada shows up with Sumire, and Sarada still can't make that jacket fit. So they're like, "Oh, are you Sarada? Are you?" And she's like, "Are you all okay?" And Tree Sasuke goes, "Uchiha Sarada," and claw marks appears right behind her, goes to launch a Chidori attack, and she dodges. In those heels, she dodges out of the way. Woo!
You know,
And
there is a world where you could salvage this, and they were like, actually, similar to like the way Lee wore like giant weights. This like we put you in the most
For training.
inconvenient footwear possible to train your dexterity and footwork or some shit like that. That's why I've had to head canon. Also, she has weights under those stupid leg warmers, so that's why she's
Right.
wearing those. And I don't know, the jacket teaches her something about, you know, imbalance and balance or something. Like there's a stupid logic to every attire decision she has.
There has to be, because it can't be that Kishimoto thinks it looks good. That can't be it.
No, there's no
Or
possible
Ikimoto.
way. Yeah. I don't
So
know which one it's sadder, or if they agreed. This was like a consensus decision.
Definitely both of them.
They looked at it, they're like, yes, this is peak character design.
Sarada activates her Mangekyo Sharingan. Matrix dodges the Chidori, woos, dives under it, turns, does her own Chidori, and it's like, it's a moment that's like, it's almost cool. It's almost cool, but the follow-through attack is just like very unsatisfying. Like the idea of like, oh, she dodges it, spins around and does her own. It's like, that could have been a cool looking thing. It doesn't quite land. She hits the guy and kind of like grazes his torso. And Sarada's like, that guy used a Chidori just like mine and Dad's. Who are you? Cut to Himawari in her mind space thing, talking to the mini Kyubi, who says, I'm Kurama. Ninetales is it? You can call me whatever you want. And so
Yeah, it's me, Kurama.
It's me, Kurama. Yeah.
Yeah.
They call me they call me the little fox of crime.
Yeah, they call me Little Nine is what Zace calls me. Yeah.
They call me lowercase 9. Numbers don't have lowercase. Lowercase 9. Yeah.
You knows what I'm saying, Zaya. Put me into your phone contacts with a lowercase 9 right now. I want to watch it.
Go on, do it.
Or I'll blow your head up. See.
Yeah, now you see, you just hold the shift to make sure it's lowercase, and then you hit. Oh, that's a parentheses.
Well, interesting. Just a hiccup. I hadn't perceived this.
All right. Anyway, I'm inside.
Why don't you call me Big Dick Douglas then? She's like, I really
don't want to do.
What if I just type the word 9 in all lowercase letters? Like, I really kind of prefer BDD, if you know what I mean. But don't acronym it in your phone. I want to know you want to know what it is when it's calling. In case you
full Christian name. It's got to be the whole thing.
Christian name. He's like, why didn't you lead with it if it's your Christian name?
I thought your Christian name was Kurama. No.
That's what you think. That's actually my confirmation name. So your name is Big Dick Kurama Douglas? Yeah.
Yeah. Or 9 for short.
Lowercase. What a stupid fucking character.
All right, now that this is ruined.
Oh no, the mystique around Kurama showing up again.
Honestly, like, Kurama does a lot of info dumping here, and Himawari, it's really kind of dumb because she's just doing that thing that lazy dialogue writers do, where they don't have a way for a character to contribute meaningfully to a conversation, so they just have them repeat the stuff that the other guy has said, or ask the very obvious questions. So, you know, he's like, we're currently exchanging words mind to mind. Mind to mind? Yes, because you and I are a single body and soul. Cut outside. What's going on? Well, as you just said, my previous self coexisted inside your father, Uzumaki Naruto, but in the midst of battle, my flame of life was extinguished. However, death is not eternal for us Bijou, see? Even our flesh or soul perishes over time. A kernel of us will sprout somewhere, and we will manage to return to life. Kernel? No one knows how long it will take. That might sprout.
See, now here's the thing. A good, funny manga artist would have had her thinking about popcorn in that moment.
Yes.
Like, she would immediately just been like, ah, shit, when's the last time I've had sunflower seeds? I should really have them again.
Oh my god, sunflower seeds, because their name means sunflower.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god. So, I like how Kurama, the guy giving all of the explanation of how this works, is like, no one knows how it works exactly or why.
Like, Kurama...
As in, like, look, I'm kind of making all this up, but I'm alive now. Yeah.
Kurama, can you go back to explaining nuclear fission to me?
I was actually thinking to myself, like, because he goes on this whole philosophical thing about, like, exactly why this happened is uncertain. He's explaining, like, balance and shit, and then proceeds from there to explain, like, how she can tap into his abilities and stuff using, like, psychology and everything. He says words like, get rid of any foolish preconceived biases. You need to believe in yourself, otherwise your future doesn't look bright. So, give him motivational speeches and stuff. What if he just taps into a different, weird, intellectual thing every time that he shows up? And let's discuss the social commentary within William Shakespeare's Hamlet, see?
We need to be talking about why The Tempest is actually less of a comedy and more of a revolution of sexual rights and empowerment for women. Like, wow, actually, Kurama, I'm kind of interested to hear where this conversation goes. It's like, actually, I forgot.
Question, people think The Tempest is a comedy?
Actually,
let us go back to the beginning.
Forget about all that. I actually want to talk about Jackie Chan Adventures Season 3. The one where all the animals get the talisman powers because the talisman broke. Now, some of you might be wondering...
Why was there never a fox talisman? You may ask. Well, you see, it's actually due to some PETA organization interfering in the choices that... Isn't it because
it's
not
Chinese Zodiac?
No. That's what they want you to see. See, yeah.
Wouldn't a fox talisman just be the dog talisman?
No more questions.
Just bites her face off. Hey, see what happens? You asked too many questions and you got your face bitten off. Now go out there and fight that monster dad thing or whatever.
That's what you get for talking to a fox, you crazy? Come on.
No one questions Big Dick Kurama Johnson.
Oh my god. So, while this is all happening, meanwhile, Team 10 is trying to, wake Himawari up because she's unconscious and having this conversation. So, Himawari does have kind of a cute moment where she introduces herself to Kurama and then wakes up. So it's like, oh, they've made a little connection here. Then, what is his name? Jura is chasing them down, and they're like, oh my god, what do we do? It's like, I don't know, punch him like you did before. This guy has not done anything to actually make it seem like he's dangerous to you guys yet. Himawari is like, Kurama, you gotta do something to help us. He shoots down the bird thing with a little beast bomb thing. Chocho kind of like uses her expansion powers to like give them an airbag essentially. Saves their butts because they're ninja and they would have all died from falling, obviously.
Yeah. Well, Nick, if you played any of the Naruto games, you know that the one weakness they establish for all characters is that they do take falling damage.
Yeah.
Pretty sure basically every Naruto game has just been a 2D fighting game. Can you imagine if you jumped in a fighting game and you took fall damage when you landed?
I can jump 6 feet in the air. I start taking fall damage after 5. Yeah. Jura, again, is just like walking slowly towards them, being like, oh, you guys just get out of the way. It's like, just kill them. Just kill them and get it over with, dude. You can do this so easily. Himawari keeps on asking for Kurama's help, and Kurama's like, the only one who can do something about this is you, see? So Himawari launches herself at Jura, goes for a flying kick. He grabs her foot and breaks her leg immediately.
He's like, oh, I probably should have noted. You definitely shouldn't do like a obviously easily telegraphed attack where you could just grab your leg and break it. I feel like I may be a little too late with that particular piece of advice, but keep it in mind for next time if there is one. I mean, you still got one leg left. Get back out there, toots.
Jura, so Himawari, whose foot is facing the wrong direction now, grabs her leg and goes, ah, it's no good. There's no way I can. It's like, how is she not like in shock from the pain? Like, she's like going, ow,
I really
ow.
do love that there is the idea of a panel where her foot's facing the wrong way because it's broken. She's like, ooh, it's like Peter Griffin stubbing her fucking shin.
Oh. Inojin tries to attack, and Jura just summons like tree roots to stop his, his cartoon thing. Then summons a tree around Himawari to absorb her, and he's like, "Don't worry, there's no need to be afraid. It's not painful." Inojin tries to save her, and gets need, I think, in the gut.
There is at first such a weird pacing to this because like Inojin runs at him. And Shikadai is the kid.
Yeah.
It's like, no, Inojin, don't. And I was like, I don't know this
just
fucking villain's name.
Get him, guys.
But I was like, he's going to rip this kid in half. But he doesn't. He just kind of like kicks him. And you're like, oh, well, then there's nothing. And then he kills him like 2 pages later, or he impales him. I guess I should say kills.
He impales him on a fucking tree root stalagmite because the guy's just like, let go of her, and touches his foot. So it's like, all right, fine. Blah.
I was like, all right, well, I guess we didn't really need that knee in there then. You could have just thrown a tree through his fucking chest at that point.
So he's got Himawari in the tree. It's closing in on her while she's watching her friends be killed, basically. Inojin is right in front of her, bleeding and impaled. And Jura goes, hold on. I think I read about this somewhere. Could this be that thing known as aesthetics? What the fuck are you talking about, dude?
This is actually the opening to the newest video essay on YouTube. He's like, aesthetics in Boruto. Random fucking claw grime ninja explains in this 17-hour video essay.
The tree suddenly bursts apart, and Himawari is standing there, and she says, I said stop it! And her hair has separated into 9 tails. Ooh. Honestly, it's a cool idea. It just doesn't really look good in execution.
It doesn't look good because Ikemoto isn't a particularly great artist, and there's not like... I think that a stronger artist could do something very cool with this, but this is not the series' strong suit. I don't like fucking being super mean to artists, but like it just doesn't have the juice. I don't know how to say it, but the last panel, you're like, damn, I wish this was cool. Like, I wish this looked as cool as I feel like it should be. Yeah.
But it's okay. He brought the speed lines. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
she's standing still, but there's speed lines.
That,
cool.
That plays into it too. Yeah, there's always just constant speed lines in every panel, and you're like, yeah, dog, I guess.
All right, that's Boruto. Yeah, she's got 9 tails power. Woo.
I don't hate it, but oh my god, we have so many more manga to talk about, so let's move on. I'm so sorry. Once again, we spent 30 minutes in Boruto because we just kept talking on it.
Chainsaw Man, chapter 166, rain, brothel, removal. So Samurai has just said that we need to go somewhere to get Denji laid. That's what's got to go happen here. And he says, I own a top-notch place. I mean, I guess he's with the Yakuza. That kind of makes sense. So he's like, go get a happy ending there. And Asa is like, that is the last thing on Denji's mind right now. Right?
Now that you say it, actually.
So Asa's like, I mean, look, you want to find Nayuta. Like, that's why we're going to get sushi, right? It's because you're hungry. You need to eat so that you can have energy to search. The most contemplative Denji has been in a long time. He's like, I haven't masturbated all lately.
I mean, in fairness, he was, unconscious for a while, for like 2 weeks, and then immediately chopped up. Yeah, I mean, he did for a healthy prostate when you think about it. That's about where he actually really kind of gets to. He's like, I mean, shouldn't be waiting this long.
So he's like, yeah, maybe I'm depressed because I haven't jerked in a while. And Asa clearly, like, no idea how to react to this. She eventually goes, "What the hell? We're worried about you and trying to save you. How can you think about sex right now?" He's like, "It's the same as getting hungry or sleepy. That's how it is for guys, right, dudes?" And he turns to the other members of the Devil Hunter Club who say nothing.
It's the funniest thing. Come on, guys, back me up. Silence.
So Asa's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, you pig? Aren't you worried about Naruto?" He's like, "Yes, I am. It's just, it's better for me physically if I take care of my sex drive for science reasons." So they go to the brothel. It's
been destroyed.
It's destroyed. I love Samurai's face. Ah!
Also, the club was called Condom Girl.
Yeah. Guys, it's got private rooms. Come on. So Asa's like, it burned down. And then it starts raining.
She's so fucking sassy and bitchy in this moment. She's like, ha! It burned down. And then she's like, oh, good. And now it's raining. Fantastic. I'm like, God
Let's
damn.
just eat something.
Everyone in here's a mess.
So Denji falls to his knees in the rain, in the dramatic rain. And Asa's like, what? And he's like, and Denji says, why can't I keep my priorities straight? My pets died. Nayuta's missing. And I'm trying to go to a brothel. I want to be Chainsaw Man for the praise and acknowledgement. What a load of crap. The truth is, all I really wanted was for ladies to be all over me so I could have tons and tons of sex. I'm always thinking with my dick. One of the Devil Hunter Club, I think it's like Kobeni's cousin or whatever, starts going, like, just laughing while looking sad. And he's like, it's not funny. It's all my dick's fault. It ruins everything around me. He starts pounding the ground while screaming, damn it. Asa looks at him with a face that clearly is expressing that she doesn't know what to do with this. Like, there's something between sorrow and disgust there.
There is, I think, some sadness in there. But it is like that moment of like an almost willing turnover to Yoru.
Yoru takes over. Who says, your pecker's the problem? Then I'll cut it off for you. Come with me.
Back alley circumcision. Well, I guess not circumcision. Bottom surgery.
All right.
Now, I have to kind of find it funny. Like, it feels like Denji. I don't know, Nick, if you've ever had this experience where you've like played a tabletop game with somebody who's like given their character a quirk.
Yeah.
And they're like, they really commit to it. Like, you're like, this, I'm surprised you're still keeping this up, because I felt like, I thought even you would have kind of dropped this, but like...
It's their name is Quinn.
Anyways, let's move on to talking about Eden Zero.
Yeah, chapter 286 of Eden Zero. Quinn, tell me how this big climactic fight, what makes it so special? What makes it different from all the other fights in Eden Zero? You gotta tell me right now.
Yeah, it's Eden Zero chapter 288. If we could be friends. So,
288.
Yeah, 288. Shiki, what's her fucking face? She doesn't have a name. Chronophage lady is like,
Chronophage lady.
I'm gonna blow up the universe. I'm gonna create a big bang. And I'm gonna destroy everything. And Shiki's like, no, don't do it. And she's like, fuck you. And Shiki's like, no, you won't be saved. She's like, I don't want to be saved. He's like, you do. I can tell. You said you wanted your time back.
I remember the conversation we had 3 minutes ago.
I don't know why it feels so fucking long, but she's just like, look, I devoured your mother like plenty of times before. It is an unusual planet. I eat it to return it to its planetary form, and then it has become mother again. So Shiki's like, okay, do it one more time, and then I promise we'll find a way to save you. And she's like, don't care. And the chronophage starts to glow, and planets start to be destroyed nearby, like just ripped apart. And Shiki's like, in that case, I'll make you interested. So he starts using his gravitational powers, and he starts pulling in all of her Big Bang level energy. And she's like, oh, why? It's falling into him. And he's like, it's gravity. She's like, oh, but if you do that, you'll die. And one of the worst panels I've seen, Shiki just goes, so what if it is? I don't know why, but the art in this panel is
very gross looking.
awful. It's just terrible. But he's just like, I don't care. Even if it kills me, I'll save this universe. The universe that I hold in my hands. And she's like, no, you're just a lowly human. He's like, well, this lowly human is going to change the world. And I guess he, like, also flips up the gravity holding her, or maybe just the residual gravity of absorbing all this attack starts, like, creating a big, swirl or whatever. And he throws the black sky. He I guess, drops it into the city and her. I don't really know. The chronophage is just fucking flying at this point, and Shiki starts controlling it with his gravity. He's like, all right, go this way, and starts directing it. And he says, as this is happening, I think I can be friends with you too. And that's where we end the chapter now. Nick, the good news is it was officially announced Eden Zero has 5 chapters left. So, Nick, we just need 5 more bits. 5 more bits to make this stupid manga worth it.
It is so wild to me that there was a constant refrain throughout this entire arc of, you could have had this take a little bit more time so they would have a little bit more of an impact. And this chapter feels so drawn out when you can summarize it as they fight. Shiki uses gravity to take over the power. He takes over the chronophage. He wins while saying, I can save you and we can be friends. Default Shiki, combat dialogue option number 1A.
Yeah.
Just so boring. So normal. Like, why doesn't this feel special at all?
There is no hype in this whatsoever. The other thing is just that, like, Eden Zero always had, like, kind of a strange pacing where it moved a little too fast for its own good. But as you said, like, this particular fight is excruciatingly long. Like, it's not exciting. I know the chronophage has been not really an antagonist again. It's been like a force of nature throughout the series, but, like, I guess let's call it an antagonist throughout the series, but in its chronophage form, not in this sexy robot lady form that we all know is going to be Rebecca. So, yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, this has been so long for a twist that I'm like, if it's anything but that, then maybe I'll be okay. But if this is just an alternate universe Rebecca, it's going to be like, then why are we doing this? Like, you have to have some modicum of respect for your audience that they're going to be able to put 2 and 2 together at some point.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on. We got other manga to discuss. Yeah, it'll be 5 more chapters of Eden Zero officially. Yes. The countdown has begun.
By July, we will not be talking about any hero work in this podcast anymore.
But he's got another one good.
No.
Well,
what if they announce Eden Zero Ultimate or 100-Year Quest? No. I promise you right now, maybe for a sadistic September.
All right. Hibaru versus Ko, Astro Royale, Chapter 5, a throwdown by the book. It's kind of a tail of the tape sort of thing. It looks, like very fight postery in this first page. So they're squaring off, and Ko promises that if Hibaru wins the fight, I'll give you Quran. But if I win, I get Tarasu. That's fair, ain't it? And Hibaru's be like, fine by me. And Tarasu's like, what the fuck, dude? why are you promising this? So he immediately goes to launch a punch, but Ko just intercepts with his Doc Ock arms, has one like grab him by the bicep and the other block the forearm, so he's not able to make contact. And he's like, come on, you're so easy to read. And he's like, I bet you've got, a super strong right arm with your Astro, right? That's really easy to figure out. And so then he just uses his spare arm, starts punching Hibaru in the stomach, throws him around, and he's like, I've got my arms crossed and I'm still kicking your butt. So, I mean, you do have 4 extra arms, but whatever. Yeah, I get it. And Kuran says, like, yeah, I didn't stand a chance against him either. Not with those 4 extra noodle arms. His Astro is Asura, the god of destruction. So that's cool. Nice.
Sure.
Ko is immediately like, I've always hated your phony, preachy nonsense. You're just like Botan. And Kura's like, who's Botan? Ah, well, you see, we have to give the backstory while the fight is going on. So Kuran says, like, that's Ko's real older brother. He was my best friend. And essentially, Botan was a noble dude who, you know, got involved in the turf war, protected a little kid who was dragged into the action and died in the process, and made Kuran promise to take care of Ko.
What if this guy was cool and had like an older male influence who showed him what it's like to be cool, but then he died, Nick? What if he died?
What if a shonen thing happened to him?
In a shonen manga, a character died to help motivate a character's backstory.
Is their dad missing? Yes!
Whoa!
Meanwhile, Ko is wailing on Hibaru, punching him, throws him into the wall again. And he's like, every time I look into your eyes, I remember that idiot. I'm never going to live like he did with all that sugar-coated garbage, and you just die in the end anyway. Now that I got this strong Astro, I can live smarter. And he lifts up Hibaru, has both of his arms spread out, basically uses all 4 of his limbs to just spread eagle him so that he can't move a single limb against him, and he's still got his 2 real arms free. And he's like, I'm gonna win. How's it feel to be helpless? But Hibaru looks at him defiantly, so he's like, why are you looking at me like that? Start begging for your life. And he starts punching him in the ribs over and over. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. And so he's like, what, you're gonna risk your life for someone else? For Kuran? It's stupid. You gotta be smarter, Hibaru. You gotta start using your head more. And of course, Hibaru says, shut the hell up, and headbutts him. It's like, look, having someone not have use of their limbs, being told you gotta use your head, and then they headbutt somebody, very easy setup. Still a very satisfying headbutt. It's nice. Yes. Knocks Ko away by doing that, and of course, Hibaru, in typical stupid shonen protagonist fashion, is like, I used my head, like you said, waka waka. But because Ko is off balance, that gives Hibaru an opening. He charges in and throws a punch, and Ko immediately tries to protect himself. And meanwhile, Tarasu just comments, or rather, oh no, wait, it's oh god, I can't tell them apart. Is this Kuran or Tarasu? It's Kuran. Yeah. I have to actually look at their hair. Jeez, they both have like the 4 earrings, and so I was like, who's that? But it's Kuran who says, I'll make everything happen in Botan's place. You know, I was like, I'm going to protect him instead. Ko blocks the punch with his 4 arms, but they all get like knocked out of the way as a result of that, so he continues to be off balance. Hibaru says, you know what I hate more than anything? It's the fact that you turn on your people the moment you got your hands on power. You should have used your power to support Kuran, who protected you all this time. People like you who don't have an ounce of loyalty don't deserve to be top dogs. And Ko's like, wait, because his Asura is basically momentarily disabled. It's apparently had, you know, it's been knocked.
Yeah, when you lose your will, Nick, you lose your Astro. I don't know what they call them in this series.
They're called Astros. Yeah. So Hibaru throws a punch and stops it just short of Ko's face. Like there's, you know, like wind that gets blasted back from the force of the punch, but he stops it. And Ko's like, why'd you stop? And Hibaru says, I won't finish you off out of respect for Kuran, so admit that you lost. And that's where we end the chapter. So we will see how that unfolds next time. Pretty straightforward throwdown fight, but simple stuff, but done pretty effectively.
Oh, okay. So I think this is where we're going to disagree. This was the first chapter. I was like, ooh, maybe this series doesn't have the sauce that I thought it did. I don't know why. To do more than this. It just felt very flat. Like the action wasn't particularly good. None of the dialogue was like doing much for me. And I don't know why, but I just really did not care for like the 2-panel sad backstory they had to throw in there where I'm like, look, guys, this is making me dislike Quran. Like every attempt they have to try to make Quran a cooler character makes me be like, this dude's boring as shit.
Look at him over there, staring silently.
Watching like, we're not done yet, but Quran needs to do something, because right now I don't give a shit if he joins this group or not.
Here's how you do this Here's how you do this in a way, and maybe they will still do this because Ko has not like actually given up yet.
Yeah.
What if Hibaru goes to punch him again and Quran like gets in the way?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's immediately like, it's a very simple thing, but it's a step up.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that there's a good foundation here, but it's time to stop laying the foundation and do really interesting stuff, I think.
Yeah. We shall see if they can do that. But Nick, it's time to get our golf on.
Yeah, yeah. Chapter 23, The Cost. Haku has gone back to the driving range. He is driving a lot of golf balls. He is up to 314 while thinking about, Oga and how she's hurt and stuff. Some of the other people working there are like, wow, he's been going for a long time. He's got blisters on his palms. So that's not good. Oga does show up at the driving range, and everyone's like, oh yeah, we heard about your elbow and everything. And she apologizes for, worrying everyone with her, injury. And then she goes up to see Haku, who has now gone on to practicing his putts. She shows up, and so he's like, how long have you been there? And she says, about 5 minutes, just, quietly watching him before he finally... She reveals that she's got an elbow pad on, so good for her. And he asks her how she's doing, and Oga's just like, hey, why don't we go for a walk? And so they go, and Haku's like, what did they say? And Oga says, surgery. Won't be necessary. Leaves it out there.
Really fucking makes it terrifying for a moment.
She explains that she had a bad case of golfer's elbow, a condition that stems from excessive practice and improper swings. So Haku asks if it'll heal, and she's like, of course it's going to heal. But I've got to rest it completely for 7 weeks, then go through rehab, and I'm going to have to reassess my swings. So America's a bit out of the question, because the rehab basically is going to take her too long, and also she's going to have to change potentially the way she golfs at all in general. So Haku gets, very, upset when he hears this, but he, kind of controls his reactions and just, I see. And so Oga asks, like, why are you so bummed out? And she just says it shows that I've got more room to grow. Starting today, I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to stretch, I'm going to strengthen my core, study course management, and even when I'm injured, there's still a lot I can do. That's all. I just figured I should tell you. So I'm going to head home, tell everyone I'll see them tomorrow. And Haku gets a drink, a delicious Coca-Cola, seemingly.
They're just in the slot next to it. Who knows what's in his slot?
That's true.
Surge Cola, watch out! That's dangerous. Also, that's had to have been in that vending machine for quite a time. I think they just...
It's at least the 90s.
Yeah, I think that was like 2000. But you know what? You're a bright kid. You'll do fine.
So Haku says to himself, like, she's come to terms with it already. Why do you have to be so cool? I can't copy that.
He's like, you bitch. Why do you have to be so goddamn fucking charismatic and awesome?
He thinks to himself that I took it for granted that Oga would be the best, that she'd come out on top without a hitch, that she'd go to the States, become a pro in no time. That fantasy that I created in my head started falling apart yesterday. She had rivals she could meet on equal ground. She gave it her all and endured the pain and fought till the bitter end. And of course she lost by a couple strokes to Dewa. So he thinks, I've filled my head to the brim with golf, but I don't know what to do with any of it. She tried so hard. What kind of world doesn't reward you for that? The same kind of world that noticed you shook the can and bah, sprays you with soda. It fizzes. You lose all the fizz. Oh no, that's one of the best parts of drinking a soda.
My surge!
My surge in the Coca-Cola can!
Well, we all know that the vending machines in Japan are a little bit wacky, Nick. Remember, like, they have them in cemeteries and stuff? That's they probably have, like, prank sodas in there, too. Because when more do you need a little, like, pick-me-up than when you're at the cemetery, like, visiting your loved ones? You're just like, well, you always loved root beer. And you take a sip, you're like, those bitches got me. It's apple juice.
All right.
You don't think that's what the Trap Master's up to in his retirement years?
Haku does not go to the driving range the next day. He is too exhausted. It's seemingly not even that he's depressed. It's that he did too much practice the day before. Makes sense. He was driving balls until he had blisters and then did putting afterwards. So he's just, on the floor of his bedroom being like, this is too much. I can't do the absurd amount of practice that Oga does. I want to be like her, but at the same time, I'm afraid that I don't have it in me. It's too much for me to keep going even after just this much. Then his door opens. He thinks it's his little brother, but it's actually Oliver. Just, walks into, his friend's house, I guess.
He's like, what up, bud? I'm like,
yeah.
How do you know where I live?
It's like, how'd you get in? It's like, your brother let me in. He says, like, why are you not at the driving range? And it's like, because... and it's like, look, tell me about Nadeshiko. Because he doesn't have the lowdown about her situation the way that Haku does. She made sure to tell him that in private. So he tells him everything off screen, and Oliver's like, that idiot! I told her not to overdo it! But he's like, okay, I get why she's not going to the States now. Apparently just didn't give him an explanation at all, but just said, I'm not going. That's it. So he admits, like, if it had been me in her place, I would have kept playing too. And it's kind of amazing that she endured the pain for so long. And Haku's like, yeah, and she made it seem like she was enjoying it the whole time. And Oliver says, well, don't you get it? We do enjoy that. And putting our lives on the line so we can improve. There are always going to be challenges on the way. Insurmountable hurdles, adversity. While it's best to avoid injury, even that can be something we find joy in because it's just a growing pain. And Aku's like, I don't know if I can do that.
He's like, I don't know if I'm as masochistic as you all are.
And Oliver starts like getting a little bit intense with this, like, oh, really?
He's like,
that all
well,
you love?
I brought some nipple clamps. Do we want to find out if you are? Like, well, we're still talking about golf, right?
Your brother let me in, but he's not home anymore.
I gave him tickets to the movie. What movie? Strangers? That sounded like a friendly little kid movie.
Big City Massacre 6, one of the classics.
Down to the cool robot theater. What do you mean the robot theater? One's all X's, right? Right next to Condom Girls.
That's a theater, right? So Oliver says, like, what, really? You don't think that your love of golf amounts to that? It kind of looked like you were already one of us to me. And Haka's like, no. So Oliver starts to get weird with him and is like, oh, you're fine. You're going to just quit? Only 2 months in? Okay. If you're going to quit, I guess you don't need your reward. I was going to, practice with you and teach you and stuff. But Haku says, like, I never said I was quitting. I just... And Oliver says, you what? You can be such a pain. You want to know what you do at times like this? You golf.
Damn straight. Gotta keep golfing, kids.
Yeah, that's right. That's what this manga is teaching us. If you're ever in a dire situation, you gotta play golf. It's like bartender, but with golf. You play too much golf, play some golf.
House getting foreclosed on, play some golf.
Play some golf.
Your wife's been taken, play some golf.
Your kids say that you have a problem because you play too much golf, play some golf.
That meteor's coming towards Earth and you're the only one who can stop it, play some golf first.
Damn right.
It'll figure itself out.
All right. Yeah, this is an interesting chapter. I'm not sure how I feel exactly about Oliver's tough love yet. I think that it'll depend on how things go with their practice next chapter.
I think it works well enough.
Let's go into Psych House, Chapter 2, Moving In. So last time Katone agreed to move into Psych House on Nemuru's suggestion. So he approaches her in class and it's like, hey, so are you ready to, to move in and stuff? And she says, yeah, I'll handle it. And he's like, no. Don't just do it on your own. You've got to think of this as practice for, getting help from others, because of course the reason she was in dire straits last time is because she refused to get help from people even though she really needed to. So he's like, okay, we'll have you move in today. I'll bring you to the house after school. Okay. But as they're making their way there, Katone asked Nemuru, like, do you understand what moving means? I've got to pack up my stuff and then bring it over to the place. So why are we going to the house first? And Emery's like, well, we've got our psychs. You can teleport stuff, so you'll teleport your stuff here, basically. It'll be practice for you to use it. Before that happens, Katone meets the guy who is actually like the caretaker of the house. He's the manager. He doesn't have powers. He also has a daughter that lives here. He starts giving her a tour of some of the stuff. There is, some nice things because like Nemuru has had an influence on the decor of this place. He's like made like a stuffy really big and a wristwatch really big. He's also shrunk down some cars and it's like, yeah, when we want to go on a road trip, we make one of these bigger and then go and then use it. It's like, that would be very handy.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. This series isn't like super engaging to me, but I do find its use of the powers to be very engaging in a way that I'm like, that would be incredibly handy to just be like, hey, I'm going to keep our like large vehicles and like obnoxiously large equipment that we don't need year round just shrunken down into like a little corner somewhere.
Yeah, and also he just like uses stuff as decoration because he thinks it's neat.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay. Cool.
Fucking go for it, Pee-wee.
So he's still wearing that suit bucket though. But
that's what his iconic character gimmick is, Nick. You have to learn to love it.
No, I don't. All right, so they're in Katone's room, and he's like, yeah, use your powers, and if it's okay, maybe like I can record this because it's like it'll help us like learn more about psychs and stuff. And she's like, I was thinking about cutting back on my psych use because like remember with the car how I almost like crushed you with it. I don't want to do that. I realize my power is dangerous and I don't know what I can and can't handle. And Emery was me like, no, because look, I understand your point, but because your power is potentially dangerous, that's a reason why you should practice, is because that way you can control it better. So the more you use it and stuff, the more you get used to that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, all right, just kind of like lays out like a very basic thing and in a very straightforward, like, look, you've got this ability. It's not intrinsically bad for you to use it, and if it's dangerous, that's why you need to practice using it. Cool. Anyway, join the X-Men. So they record the session, and it's kind of weird to me that it's like the date is so close to today's dates, like but so it's like, all right, so she's going to use her teleportation ability here, and so she teleports in a chair, her bed, like her hair dryer, some other stuff, and she's like, and finally my pajamas. And Nemur's like, oh, that's all you're teleporting? Are you like a minimalist? And she's like, no, so the way that my power works is it resets when I sleep, and I can teleport the things that I've touched starting from the moment I wake up in the day. And then she gets really embarrassed because she realized, like, oh my god, now everyone knows what I do every morning, what stuff I touch when I wake up. And it's like, that's a very human thing to like get embarrassed about, because it's a very specific, like, these are all the things I touched specifically this morning, and everyone's gonna know that's what I do and don't do.
I was gonna say, at first I was just like, why? It sounds like you're doing normal stuff, but then I'd be like, oh, she might be upset. It's like, oh, but where's your skincare routine? Where's your, whatever?
Where's your dildo?
Okay. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess some people were probably wondering that. Jesus.
So she gets embarrassed
Don't
about
you
that.
wake up in the morning and grab your
All right.
18-inch dragon dildo?
Just, you've got to, put it in its proper place and stuff. And so
Yeah, not to use it, just for
No.
dusting. Oh my gosh. I'm not a
Come on, guys.
I'm not a gross weirdo.
So Nemuru says, well, so you could teleport yourself home and touch more stuff that way. And Konoe's like, I've never thought about teleporting myself before. And he's like, well, you could give it a try. I feel like it'd be the easiest thing you could do because, it's you. So she teleports herself home and is like, yeah, I'm here. So he's like, all right, yeah, cool. Try sending something from over there. And so she grabs a shirt, sends it over, and it lands outside the house. And she says, yeah, I can pull things to me because I can just kind of have things appear in my hands. But when I send things away, sometimes I'm inaccurate. So just continue to establish the limitations of her abilities on certain stuff. The last thing that she brings in at the end of a long day of pulling stuff to her is her dresser, but it's a little bit too tight. So it's suddenly started
It bothers me so much because the joke at the end of this chapter does not make sense with this context. I'm like, it's not like it shrunk it down to a fucking miniature size.
all he needed to do was shrink it a couple inches. So
not even inches. Not even inches. It fits in that space. It's just very tight, so it shrunk down a little bit, so it fits normally.
There is just enough of a moment for Konoe to feel like, oh my god, I fucked up, and she gets worried about it, and then Nemuru is just like, shrink it just a little bit so that it fits there, and it fits perfectly. And so Konoe's like, I froze, I messed up again, and Nemuru is just like, look, it's fine. We're not just observing how people live with their psyches. We've also got to look out for each other. That's another reason why this house exists, so we can work together. And it's a nice sentiment, again. Isn't that nice? She lives in a nice place. She's got people who care about her. Anyway, it's been 2 chapters. We haven't had any fan service. So let's get that in. It's so sudden.
It really is. There's moments sometimes where you read a manga and you're like, at least it hasn't been gratuitously full of fan service. And then you turn a page and you're like, I don't know why I thought that. I don't know why I thought you were different.
And she's like, oh my god, my underwear is a little snug. What happened? And she's like, Nemuru, all these were in the dresser that they shrunk, so my clothes are a little bit smaller now. Which, again, that doesn't quite make sense that would be that noticeable if it's...
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, it's not like you went from you went down a jean size out of this or something like that. It would be there's just difference in clothing. And I don't know why this bothered me so much. I was like, it's not as though you would wear this. You'd be like, what the fuck? I must be exploding out of my clothes. It was a very small amount that dresser went down.
All right. Well,
anyway, yes, we get to see her butt for a panel.
Honestly, this scene aside, I thought this was actually a better chapter than the previous one because I was actively going oh, this is interesting that we're exploring this stuff with this very positive approach to things, and so it was fun.
Sure.
But we'll see how things go next week.
I'm still a little mixed on it. I don't really know what to define the series as. It's not a gag manga, and it's not a battle series, and it's not a cute series. I just don't know how to feel about it. I guess the closest thing is it vaguely Magu-chan-esque, but even that was more easily defined as a comedy slice of life, whereas this, I don't know if I necessarily am laughing that much.
This is a weird one on the spectrum of a weird supernatural thing has an everyday life type series, the way that Magu-chan and Ruri Dragon are. And it's kind of odd because you're kind of trying to think okay, so is it just that they just do things, or is there going to be something else that's going to happen? And it doesn't feel like I've got the whole picture of that yet. It's okay, but it's I see your point. Marriagetoxin.
Glub 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 glub. That's the sound of poison.
Sure. Chapter 88. Okay, so a few days have passed since the whole true gun clan thing happened, so Kinosaki has decreed that Gero needs to have a date practice on improving skills that he lacks. He shows up to the beach to meet Kinosaki, and she's got Beppu with her, who's got a collar on. She's holding the leash. He's holding the leash. They're holding the leash. Let's do there. It makes it a bit easier on myself with Kinosaki. They're holding Beppu's leash, and also Beppu's got, like, cat ears, but he's also a dog.
Those could be dog ears. There
They
are
could be dog
dogs
ears.
with those ears.
But I associate that with if someone's going to wear them with cat ears. Anyway.
Sure. I can introduce you to some people who could explain the differences, Nick.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Kinosaki points out that Gero has been making contact with a lot of very lovely ladies, very nice love interests, but they bring up that all of them have got to also be meeting charming people every day. So Gero's got to...
I was gonna say, I like the joke that the one girl, like, for the other two, it's like, oh, the make a mystery person. For the one girl, it's a mystery hamster. Like, any day, another mystery hamster might show up and sweep her away.
Yep. So Kinosaki decrees, love is like a duel, and in order to get ahead of your rivals, you gotta be aggressive from time to time, and that's where you're lacking. So, you're gonna be challenging this guy in a match. There's one rule, the one who makes my heart skip a beat first wins. So Gero's like, all right, Kinosaki is going out of their way for me, and so I'm going to accept this challenge. And Beppu's like, I'm not going to go easy on you, partner. I know that my honey and you aren't dating, but you guys are too close. You keep hogging my honey all to yourself. So you're not my partner in this case. You're my rival. Also, apparently, Kinosaki proposed that Beppu be their dog because Kinosaki's like, no, you can't be my boyfriend. You can be my dog. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
he thinks that this is an advantage that he has.
Yeah, he's an idiot. So in his mind, he's like, yes, absolutely. And then she's just like, okay, this is actually weird. Just be a human now.
Yep. Beep. So this is separated into rounds. So Kinosaki's like, all right, first challenge. Give your girl a present. Get me a present that you think will make me happy. First thing Beppu does is like, I bought this super expensive necklace on a payment plan.
24-month installments. Jesus
Christ. And Kinosaki's like, I cannot accept that. That's too much. So then Gero goes like, you know, it's rare to find yellowtails of this size. And this just pulls out a whole ass bitch.
This was very funny to me. Not just for the joke, but like, there's a moment where Kinosaki's like, all right, like, you've got this in the bag. He couldn't even give me a gift because I can't accept it. Basically, anything will clear the bar. And he's like,
gotcha, fish!
You don't see fish this size this season.
And Beppu's like, oh my god, why didn't I think of that? Kinosaki's like, it's a draw. No. They go on a haunted house challenge. Beppu is too scaredy cat, and Gero is too at ease. So Kinosaki's like, no. Beppu does a love letter in the sand, which is just drawing the word love in the sand, which sucks. But Gero does a 10,000 character note, which looks like a blackmail letter. So it keeps on going. Eventually gets to a point where they're doing quote unquote freestyle, and I don't know what they're doing, but
yeah, I have to assume these are two different contests that are both draws, or there is just the idea that they both had very strange ways of freestyling.
Kinosaki refers to them as pretty evenly matched, which is a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
So the last challenge is enjoying the night view. And Kinosaki says, you gotta come up with a good one-liner while enjoying a romantic night view together. So Beppu goes first. He's like, how about we set sail on the uncharted waters of life together? And Kinosaki just thinks that he tried to make that sound cool, but that doesn't make any sense. There's no substance to that.
Yeah. That's a nothing sentiment.
Gero, for his turn, cooks something and then turns to Kinosaki and says, care for a taste of my simmered yellowtail and daikon. So he brought that yellowtail back.
As he should. You don't find fish that size at this time of the season.
So it's a draw again. No winner. Afterwards, Kinosaki says, "Why didn't you try to say something cool? I was sure you were going to ace that one." But Gero paused for a second. He says, "You've been feeling pretty tired recently, haven't you? I thought it'd be good for you to eat something healthy. So I guess that the dish you're probably craving the most right now is simmered yellowtail and daikon."
Aww.
Aww. And, Kinosaki just thinks like, oh, he was doing his best to think about me in his own way. But then he goes on to say that it's a good source of protein and contains lots of vitamins that can help you recover from fatigue. Kinosaki's like, all right. But, so, Kinosaki says, that means you must need my help a little bit longer, right? Let's keep working on how to better show off your charms. And Gero's like, oh, I'm in your hands. And they're all nice and cozy and buddy-buddy. And Beppu has an understanding, a moment of revelation. And he realizes, when Gero gets married, my honey will be free. Gero isn't my rival. Partner, I, the great Leo-sama, shall also lend you a helping hand in this whole marriage business. Anyway, I've got to go do part-time work. Bye! And runs off with the leash and dog your son.
He had to put them back on. I guess and that's his way of making sure he doesn't forget them or something. But I was
also runs off on all fours like a dog.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, you had to put those back. No one made you put the dog costume back on. I'm starting to feel like this is a you thing.
After he has left, Gero gets kind of shy, and he asks Kinosaki, hey, what do you think of Beppu? And Kinosaki's a little taken aback by this, and just goes, you want to know, Gero-kun? But that's nothing that should concern you, right? And kind of gives him a little look.
OTP, Nick. OTP. OTP.
Maybe. So Gero starts to get flustered. He's like, I guess, but they are interrupted by Ushio, the water user. We haven't seen her in a while at this point. It just emerges onto the beach, and she says, what else would I be here for but a job? All right. So next arc starting up, it looks like involving Ushio in some way. Looking forward to that.
I'm excited for that. Yeah, I think Ushio is a nice foil to Gero. Like, she's kind of the only like real antagonistic member of like his harem. I guess I don't even know if you would call her a part of the harem yet.
Not yet.
But she was featured on that one color page that was trying. Like they've hinted at it. So I do like that. Like,
she is a cute girl. Yes.
Yes. I just like the idea. There's like a little bit of a combativeness there. She has like a fun personality to contrast a lot of the other girls.
Mm-hmm. New Exorcist, chapter 50, Memento. So half of this chapter will be backwards and half of it will be told forwards, and then they'll meet in the middle, and then Nue is like, gonna take this sword now. Takes the sword. All right, easy. It has been 7 days since the training in Nue's space began. It's pronounced New Space. I don't know. New Space.
I hate kids today with their new space. Back in my day, space was easier.
Nue is observing everyone's progress on a monitor because there are cameras in their practice rooms.
Why not? I don't care. Who cares? I can't give a shit about this problem, unfortunately.
But she realizes that they're not quite ready to take on a level 4 yet. So she thinks like, okay, how much am I gonna be able to train them before they prioritize us instead of the ritual blades? So the day wraps up. And Morosaki is like, Gakuro, do you think that's enough to make you stronger? Yes, goodbye! Runs home, sees Kazu, and they go, ah! And for a second I was like, what the fuck is happening?
There was a lot of confusion going on where it's like, what is happening?
So he screams for a while until Suo shows up, and it turns out it's her birthday, and they're celebrating her birthday. Aww.
Okay,
Gakuro got her a present.
Not for nothing. It is weird to be like, we're interrupting our hardcore shonen battle training so we get through a birthday party. I'm like, you can't, like, because they say, they're like, look, we're not doing any hard practice today. He kind of cuts out a little bit early. Like, are you sure this is, you know, go, they gotta get going. And it's like, I don't know why. This is just very strange to me.
Also, I've got a question here
Okay.
because Gakuro's got a present for Suo. He's wearing a little tux. He's all dressed up, you know, the way you are for people's birthdays in a tux. Where did he get the tux?
For somebody you've known for about 3 months that you're not in a relationship with.
No. So he says, "I got you a present." It's like, all right,
Nick,
sure.
if you show up to my birthday party in a tux, I will scream and throw you out of Red Robin.
Red Robin? Oh, doing me a solid. I hate Red Robin. So Kazu says, I gave him advice, but that's all. No clue what it is. So Gakuro got this present for Suo after getting advice from Kazu. When? How? How? They've been in this room the whole time. What? Wow.
Well, as you know,
Did he make it out of the few materials they have here?
I made this out of lint. I thought you'd love it in your hair.
It's a ribbon. And so he's like, oh, you tie your hair back, so I thought another ribbon would give you options. And Kazu's like, no! Because she knows something the Gakuro doesn't. Suo plays it off very nice. It's like, oh, you've got great taste, Yajima. It's a very pretty ribbon. Yeah, I'm going to go try it on. I'm going to go shower. Bye. And Kazu, so yeah, afterwards, Kazu, what's her name? Whatever. The girl. Ponytail girl. She says her ribbon's a memento of her dead fiance. Oh no!
But hey,
So,
Nick, we do get confirmation that this is
Gakuro.
not Gakuro's dad. Unless she is a lot older than she is letting on. She's like, I've been held back for several years.
She looks like in this picture she is like 6, 8 something, and the guy giving her the ribbon is clearly like a teenager at most.
Mm.
So yes, there's an age difference between them, but it's not that big. Oh wait, he's 14. It says so. He's 14 in this instant while she's a kid, so it can't be Gakuro's dad. Yeah. So, yeah. So that happened, and then afterwards,
Nick, thankfully it's not Gakuro's dad, which means this is unlike anything in Bleach. Now, Nick, who was the number 9 Arankar?
the number 9 Arankar,
Yeah.
Araniero Arari.
Yeah. Wasn't he somebody important?
He disguised himself as Cayenne.
Yeah. Well, who was Cayenne again?
Cayenne was the guy who looked like Ichigo, which was and was Rukia's former lieutenant. Where are you going with this? What's going on?
So there's no vibes here you're picking up where you're just like, oh, okay. So we're kind of doing that a little bit.
Oh no, we're not doing anything that will involve this guy's face coming up later. No.
Yeah.
It's not like the spirits have demonstrated that they can mimic in any way humans.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Suo gets upset because, you know, she remembers her dead fiance and is running over this way. And she's like, oh, come on, you got to act happier, which is probably the best thing that New Exorcist has done in a long time. Just having her, like, be upset at herself for being upset in that way that people expect it to be positive to.
Yeah, she's like, look, you don't want to hurt his feelings. You got to act happier. But, you know, it does hurt her.
Yeah. Gakuro is trying to think of a way to apologize, but suddenly Nue senses a disturbance. Everyone says a disturbance, and so Nue is like, it's too soon. Teleports everyone in from their training grounds. We see that Shiroha and Shitatsu were playing a card game. Good for them. So Nue is like, I transported you all of you here by force, so listen up. The enemy has made their move. Yeah. She's like, yeah, sealing the hill requires tools known as ritual blades, and I've detected an intruder at the vault where mine is stored. I'd imagine it's a member of the level 4 group. And Gakuro's like, well, then we should contact the Exorcist Bureau. And Nue's like, I tried. We get no bars. That's the way that we communicate in this world of magic. So, and then a barrier appeared around the school. Is like, so they're trying to keep us from alerting the Exorcist Bureau in person. But wouldn't they have a way of knowing if a facility that important got invaded? Well, ideally, yes. But if the enemy's jamming radio signals, they'll have dealt with it. Oh, yeah. Jamming radio signals. Dealing with top-notch security by an elite Exorcist agency. Same thing.
When is this series set? Is this modern day, or is this supposed to be like in the early 90s or something? Like, I'm like so baffled at the idea that somebody's like, is the internet cut off? No? All right, well, shoot a ping.
Like, she's got a smartphone. Like,
yeah, I'm like, there has to be easier ways to contact people than just the radio waves are out. Shoot up a fucking flare.
So Nue says, like, we've got to go over there and deal with this on our own. So let's get to it. And so they start hustling. They come across a level 3 spirit, and Nue is like, don't let it scare you. Fucking kill it. You guys are way stronger than that thing now. And Gakuro goes, okay, ha! A bunch of level 2s show up, and they start having to engage them too. But then, boom, an explosion thing happens. And we see a conversation between some of the level 4s, including one telling one of the others, Yoriko, you go handle things at the school. And she goes, you got it. And goes, ooh. And she shows up and she's got battle armor and claws and stuff.
Claws.
And she says, busy, aren't you scampering around? Why the rush? Did your ma die or something?
No, just my dad!
Thank you. So yeah, it's level 4. She's gonna fight them, summon some orbs of power and stuff. Shiroha and Chitatsu go to stab her, and she blocks it with her hand, and that leaves an opening for Suo to just grab Gakuro and boom, dart past them. And so yeah, he's like, all right, we'll leave this to you. And Chitatsu and Shiroha do that thing that shonen characters do when they're not being treated as individuals. They both say the same thing at the same time. We're on it.
Yep. Super cool.
This is not the worst chapter of New Exorcist, but there were still weird, dumb things in it, because of course there were.
Yeah. Honestly, I know I had read the chapter, but as we were recapping it, I had to sit there for a moment. I was like, did I read this? I think I just blocked so much of it out as I was reading it.
Okay. Akane-banashi! Story 110, Senior Apprentice. Hey, Akane is like one of them roller
milkshake jockey or whatever.
Yeah, one of the things that, like, you know.
Oh yeah, like roller
fast food in like the 60s and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know why I like the colors. I also like those kinds of outfits.
Nice.
I like the pinstripes for some reason.
It's very eye-catching. It's nice. So anyway, it's time for the Shinichi promotion test of Maikeru. And we are introduced to our MC for the day, Kenbishi Arakawa. Hey, good for you, buddy, getting lines and stuff. So he introduces the judges, which of course is Taizen, Iken, Zensho, whose moniker is the King of Comedy.
Ooh, Cedric the Entertainer's not going to be happy about this.
And the head judge, of course, is Isho. So they all are introduced, and I like how they all are in character while striking poses and stuff. So Isho is just kind of like, how can I ruin everyone's day today? Iken, he poses, but he's restrained. Taizen's like, And Zensho is like, wah!
Waka waka!
I'm the king of comedy!
I'm the biggest ticket. Yeah, this guy feels like the dude who like throws on like a fucking rubber nose, and he's like, ain't I wacky?
I'm gonna hit stuff with a mallet. Ah!
I can't wait to see this motherfucker have to do Rakugo at some point.
Oh, yeah.
He's just like, oh, Master Zensho, rubber chickens aren't usually part of the Rakugo performance style. Did everybody laugh when you sat on your whoopee cushion? So, like, you're going on last. The whoopee cushions all went off, like, 2 hours ago. Everyone stand up, reinflate your whoopee cushions, and sit back down. But do it in different intervals so we can hear all of them go up individually. That's
We
where
are reminded.
that's where I'm in the back as the Rakugo reporter, and I'm like, Master Zen Show, A plus. Many fart jokes.
Well, I disagree with his morals and way of conducting himself around his students. His style and technique cannot be denied.
Yeah. Well, while I disagree with his antics about trying to destroy careers, his comedy parentheses farts was the most impressive parentheses farts of the entire evening.
In fact, I met with Master Zen Show just before writing this article, and as I was getting my pen ready, he had me experience firsthand the silent but deadly, but it is not actually silent.
It's actually very loud. As I was interviewing him, every so often he would move his lips to one side and go, and after I picked myself up off the floor, I would continue the interview.
What made it extra hilarious was that most of them were not real farts, which made the real ones all the more potent.
Every so often there's one I was like, I didn't even see your lips move, and he's like, next question.
All right. We gotta get into this. There is a journalist who doesn't like Rakugo who looks like Hitler here. So
Yes, there is.
we are reminded that the audience also gets to judge the performance, and they get to say whether they think Manga passed or failed. But before the MC can actually get into it, Kenbishi is interrupted by, of course, Zensho, who has a microphone. And he says, "Hey, aren't we getting a little ahead of ourselves? I mean, that's fine if you really want, but don't be tied down to the book, my boy. We haven't had a Shinichi test in years. I think this calls for a statement from our illustrious leader to mark the occasion." And he, of course, gestures to Isho, and everyone gets nervous. Kenbishi doesn't know how to react to this. And Isho... yeah, he's been prompted for this, so he takes the mic and he's like, "Oh, can we ask for a comment?" "What is there to say? Nothing's changed since the last time. End of story." Which is one of the worst things he could have said for the mood. Because everyone's just like, oh, he thinks that everyone sucks again. And Kibishi, as he takes back, the mic, he's like, "They told me not to let him have a mic because of this." They just didn't want him to do this to everyone. And of course, everyone just thinks about it. Yeah, Isho, kicked everyone out of the school and stuff. Zensho is still in control. However, he's like, "Yes, it's been years and so on and so forth, but it's still a promotion test. It works the same way as ever. We're at the same venue as last time, with almost the same judges. And just like last time, the contestant is the senior apprentice of the Shigama school." Wait. Senior apprentice? Where have I heard that before? Oh, don't want to go dredging up old history. I suppose you all know what I mean. It's fine. That's fine.
He's a real fuck. He's really just like going for it in this moment.
Hitler journalist guy is laughing too. And Zensho and me is like, "Oh, don't get me wrong. I want him to succeed. After all, if I was reckless enough to send another apprentice forward like after last time and had to watch the same result happen all over again, well, how would that make me feel as a mentor?" And Taizen glares at him, and he's like, "All right, fine. He's done. That is fun." Yeah. Iken doesn't look very pleased by this either. He's, staring between Isho and Zensho. And we get a little bit of attention on that.
What was the logic behind why Akane couldn't get Iken to give her
It wasn't his turn.
Okay.
Basically.
Okay. I was trying to remember. I was like, because they established she's probably the one that's most likely to give an approval here, even though it's not definite. And I was like, what was the reason why she couldn't go to him? Like, was there some kind of antagonism? But yeah, he is, like, it does seem he's like, Jesus, dude, like, come the fuck on.
Yeah, they go in a rotation of who holds the Futatsume stuff. And also there was the event previously that Akane didn't win. So we also see like a whole bunch of reactions from a bunch of people during this. You know, the MC, the journalists, and of course Akane, Kyoji, and Koguma. I feel really bad for Koguma because he is just twitching and jittering the whole time. But it's time for the performance. So Maikaru takes the stage, and Shigema just says to himself, "I know you'll be able to enjoy this." And Maikaru says, "Of course I will. That's been my plan all along." She goes out, and eyes fall on him. He can feel everyone staring, everyone in the nervous, everyone of the judges. But Hitler journalist guy.
You can't just lead in with a pause between this, but Hitler's out. Oh, no.
Hitler journalist guy. He looks like Hitler. I'm sorry.
I think he is supposed to be like a tabloid sort of like schmear reporter, but yes, yeah.
Tabloid journalist guy who looks like Hitler says, "I don't care the slightest bit about Rakugo."
Couldn't give a shit about this stupid shit.
But he realizes, like, there are people here who are only in this for controversy. They know some juicy is going to happen because something big happened at the last promotion event when Isho caused all the ruckus. This is not a room that is going to have where laughs are going to come easy. He is in hostile territory, and that's perfect for a tabloid writer like me. So come on, let's see you crash and burn and cause a spectacle. Maikaru takes the stage, and he's like, "Yep." Zensho interrupted the schedule. He threw all the taunts in, and he tried to rattle me. He tried to poison the mood. Honestly, he really does love his petty tricks. But as he takes the stage, he looks over at Zensho, who goes, "Heart," and he makes a little symbol with his hands.
Yeah.
"Fuck you, I hate you." Maikaru gets down on the cushion, and everyone's like, "Oh man!" But Akane just looks up at Maikaru and thinks to herself, "You can do it, Maikaru Ani-san." So Maikaru goes into his introduction and says, "At this day and age, there are many forms of recreation to enjoy, but in the past, such things were all but set in stone." And that is where we leave off. So Maikaru will be launching presumably into his performance next chapter, and that is it for manga this week.
Yeah.
We don't have One Piece this week.
No One Piece, but a lot of good stuff, I think, still. So I think that's going to lead us to our MVPs.
Yeah, MVP and favorite series. I feel like my MVP is... Let me just double check this. I think it's going to be Chinatsu, though. I just like that she just fucking does it. Just does the thing.
Sure. Yeah, all right. I need to think on best series, but MVP, I'll probably also give it to Chinatsu. She had some pretty good character development in this chapter.
And Boruto, yeah, definitely Boruto.
No. God, I am really blanking on MVP, or not MVP, but series of the week. Series. Yeah.
This is kind of tough because there were. All the chapters all the good chapters feel like they were right around each other here for me. God. So I'm kind of torn between Akane-banashi and My Hero, I think. But I feel like I'm going to give it to Akane-banashi. I thought that the build-up was just very well done and very well paced. And it did, like, every chapter of this series that comes out makes me feel like I'm flip-flopping on, like, oh, Maikaru's going to do it. No, he's not.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. No, he's not. Like, last chapter, I was like, it feels like he's not going to do it. And this one, I was like, feels like Maikaru's going to do it now.
Yeah,
like,
got this. I think I might agree with you and say Akane-banashi. I think it's probably, I don't know if any series was like, that, like, floored me this week. But I think this is maybe the closest where I was like, this was, like, a really enjoyable and good chapter kind of all the way through. And it is good for getting us hyped up for this like inevitable fucking little spectacle, storm, chaos, whatever this ends up being. It's gonna be a good time. The audience, by the way, picked My Hero Academia as series of the week, and it looks like there is a tie for MVP between Chinatsu and Zensho from Akane-banashi.
Definitely get that. Zensho did a lot of the heavy lifting for Akane-banashi by being a big shithead.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun stuff. That's going to do it for Weekly Manga Recap. We record the show here on twitch.tv/RoloT Wednesday evenings, usually sometime between 7:30 and 8 Eastern time. We send out a little bang to the Discord server when the show goes live. If you want to join the Discord server, it'll be linked basically wherever this gets posted. And you can also participate in our wonderful community, talk about stuff, the chapter.
Yeah.
It's going to be talked about the week.
Maybe you'll share something innocuous you made, and I'll cry and respond to it with thank you for sharing this. I needed this.
And if you want more Weekly Manga Recap, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Weekly Manga Recap, where you can find bonus episodes and also contribute a little something to monetarily support the show. But we appreciate everyone who is part of our community. Thank you guys so much. You can also watch more of the show on our YouTube, youtube.com/Weekly Manga Recap for the video recordings of the podcast. Audio version can be found on weeklymangarecap.podbean.com, Spotify, iTunes, other podcast feed type places. The video version has an opening sequence done by Malajack Stillett and Winsleydale Cheddar, and occasionally title cards done by Steve Man, whose artwork you can find all across the web by searching for Steve Man Art. We want to thank NinjaX3i for helping us by maintaining the Google Doc and doing all sorts of other things to just kind of help make the show more organized and keep track of stuff we've done in the past that goes out of our brains generally whenever we stop talking each day. Yeah, that's about everything. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, that's going to do it for Weekly Manga Recap. You can't stop us. We're leaving.
Things are going to be a little bit weird in the next couple of weeks because I am going to be on vacation, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah. Don't worry, everybody. Something will happen.
Yeah.
Mysterious. Keep it vague. Who knows? We'll have a special guest. It could be anybody. It could.
Now I'm nervous.
It could be Sydney Sweeney. It could be. We mentioned her a couple times this episode. Chapel Roan. It also could be Austin Yorsky. It could be any of them. But it's probably...
So who are these? Who are those people again? Besides Austin? Who?
You know Sydney Sweeney.
I've heard the name.
Oh my God. Nick, you can't. You're aging me. I can't be near you. I'm getting older and straighter.